I'm sorry, sir. Are you a little bitch? Like, are you playing like high school, like teenage, like what? Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna hear a story about one not happy mama and what happened to her kid at school. So grab a seat and let's go.
While I tell you about some drama. And just bear with me because I have never told a long story short in my life, but I'm going to try and be as concise as possible. I don't talk about it with someone and vent about it a little bit. I will not stop thinking about it. Basically,
Can relate.
My son got kicked off of his baseball team. Here is a little bit of backstory. He met his coach of his team just in like regular league baseball. Well, from there, just because like our kids all played together really well, we basically moved up with him. He decided he wanted to take our group of kids and get a team together to become like a travel team. Honestly was like my husband's thing. That was his idea. I didn't really have anything to do with it. I just kind of did what I was told. Just to like set the scene for you, the coach from the very beginning has always been very disorganized, doesn't communicate well. So that's kind of been like an ongoing complaint. But honestly, like he's a man, so it kind of just was what it was. I accepted it. Fast forward to right now, last season, we actually won the state championship for the travel league. So it was really good. We ended the season on a high. We ended up as a team collectively agreeing to kind of take the summer off, let the kids enjoy their summer and take a break from baseball, and we would basically get back to practicing for the fall season coming up. Ever since we came back from that, the energy like on the whole team has been off, and honestly I think it's because of the coach. Basically during all of the practices, it got to the point where he mainly was just like yelling and shouting and was kind of being like a drill sergeant to the kids. Which, please don't misunderstand me, I played competitive softball my entire life, so I get it. However, these kids are literally 6 and 7 years old. Literally.
But I think it depends if the kids are very like, haven't been shouted on before or like not used to this kind of environment. Like I can see why they wouldn't like it.
6 and 7 years old. I'm playing to get college scholarships, okay?
Just for fun,
At the end of the day, like, yes, we want to win, but they also need to have like a good time. On top of some of the parents kind of noticing that he just had like a little bit of shift in the way that he was speaking to the kids. Some parents kind of had an issue with it. They felt like he was being a little harsh. Mainly the parents' biggest issue with him is that he just doesn't communicate well. It got to the point where we would have 3 practices a week and we wouldn't know what our week looked like up until the week of. People on the team have one kid.
Yeah, that's an issue.
But most of the people on the team have multiple kids and careers. So it was like, dude, like, so basically there was some contention around that. As parents, we were kind of talking in the background like, hey, I don't really like the way he's talking to the kids. Some people were like, I just don't like the fact that there's zero organization. Well, anyways, it got to the point where one of the parents on the team basically was like, I think, you know, as parents, maybe we collectively could get together and vote him off as the coach. I was like, you know, I really don't think that that's the right thing to do. I don't think that that's fair. I
would speak to him first because I see the issue. It's not like it's a tough love kind of thing, like in sports and stuff. I think it's just he sounds very disorganized. Everything's last minute. Like people can't just, you know, go by your schedule. Like people got lives. So yeah, but I would speak to him first. Like what? Maybe he's got something going on in his life. Like what's happening?
At the end of the day, regardless of whether we agree with him or not, has, you know, poured a lot of energy into our kids, and I think he really comes from a good place. So I think honestly we just owe him a conversation. Well, something happened that I wasn't a part of, and it basically came to his attention that, you know, parents had some grievances and one of the parents wanted to replace him as the head coach. I honestly think that he thinks it was me because I'm the only one on the team that's kind of outspoken. To clarify, I'm not like a loud and belligerent person. I'm just not really afraid of confrontation. And my biggest pet peeve in the world is like passive aggression. For me, it's like if you've got something to say, just come out and say it.
Same.
You can still go about that.
Absolutely.
Well, anyways, it comes to his attention that some parents have some issues, so he took it upon himself to basically call a parent from every single kid on the team. I do think it's important to note that he really only wanted to speak to the men, which is fine.
That's weird.
Practice, he basically gathers up all of the parents that are already present and calls this like parent team meeting. He opens up the meeting by saying, you know, it's come to my attention that some of you guys, you know, have an issue with me. One of the parents wants to remove me as the head coach. For me, like, even though maybe I wasn't the one that was the most unhappy, I kind of did know the rundown of all of the parents' issues with him. So I was like, that's not really fair to him if he wants to have a conversation with us and now everybody wants to be silent. So I
Yeah.
spoke up.
That's
and I
just,
basically just
I
said,
hate people like that in general, just in life. Like, it just aggravates me. Like, you say shit behind someone's back, go and say it to the face. It happens to me so many times, whether it's like a meeting or to do with school, just to do with like anything in life, or like workplaces especially. They're like, oh yeah, he's a shit manager, he's a shit this, he's not doing his job properly, or like colleague is not pulling their weight. And then I'm like, all right, so let's organize it, let's go and speak. And then you end up like the only person speaking up, and they're all quiet. Cannot stand people like this. Can't stand them.
It's not personal because it was very obvious that he took it personal. It's just that there is a huge lack of organization.
Yeah.
And, that really is a strain on us as parents. I don't think that he really could relate to us because he's divorced. He's not the primary parent for his kid. And honestly, most of the time his kid was never even at games or practices. So for him, it's like he has nothing better to do than like go to work and come be a coach. Then I followed that up with like, from the beginning of the season when we were playing t-ball to now, your energy definitely has shifted. And it feels like sometimes you can be a little unnecessarily harsh to the kids. And at the end of the day, they're children, so we still feel like at some point they need some positive reinforcement rather than you barking at them all the time. Well, that did not sit well with him. I do want to point out that I spoke to him very eloquently. I didn't raise my voice. I tried to be as respectful as possible because we weren't trying to personally attack him or his character. We were just trying to give you our perspective as parents. Immediately got very offended, super defensive. Basically just told all of us that we were wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have ever had a conversation with a brick, but that's essentially what that conversation was. At one point, he was like, I just have a different relationship with your guys' kids than you do, and you just don't understand.
Yeah, but there was a shift. There was a shift in the way he treated the kids. So if something did happen in your life, I feel like if you tell people, they might like react differently or like understand. But if you just literally like change your attitude for nothing just because you wanted to, like that's an issue.
We were like, okay, because we don't all go home with our children after practices and games. Was like, and you said sometimes I'm a little unnecessarily harsh. I want an example of when I did that. That pissed me off because at that point it's like, oh, okay,
just
this is
arguing.
A conversation for us to have some sort of middle ground and get on the same page. This is a conversation for you to defend yourself and make all of us feel stupid. I was like, if you want to argue the semantics of it, I don't really know why we're here because that's pointless and that's not going to get us anywhere. Again, it seems like you're taking it personal and no one here is trying to attack you. At the end of the day, we just want our kids to have fun. And you asked. One of the other parents, because it got a little heated at that point, steps in and was basically like, sometimes it's just your delivery, and there's a big difference between saying, drop down and give me push-ups, and drop down and give me push-ups. And do you guys want to know what this man responded to that with? Oh yeah, but I don't make the kids do push-ups.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Right, so Yeah, that's I think that's a problem. And replace the coach.
What? He missed the entire point of it, and at that point all of us were like, this is literally going nowhere.
Yeah.
We agreed to just drop it. The meeting ended and we went on with our lives. Okay. And to take zero accountability, it was just really insane. Fast forward to yesterday, had 2 games to play back to back. Sat next to the dugout, next to another parent on the team that I really like and get along with. And then there was one other parent on the team who also was one of the other parents that also expressed, hey, this is kind of my issue, and her main issue is the lack of organization because, again, it puts a strain on everyone's family. I was busy with my baby. It was hot and she was cranky. She was busy with her baby. We had maybe one conversation with each other, and it was about bread. It was about sourdough. Well, apparently, after practice, that coach took aside that lady's husband and basically told him, I heard your wife and Taryn talking bad about me next to the dugout, and you need to handle that or else you're going to have to find a different team to play on. I didn't know anything about that until later.
I'm sorry, sir. Are you a little bitch? Like, are you playing like high school, like teenage, like what? And especially that they say shit about you, so you just literally made it up? Like, huh?
But essentially, me and my family, we get home and we're hanging out and my husband gets a phone call from the coach. And the coach basically is like, I don't have to put up with this shit from the parents. I'm sure that you heard, about all the drama that was going on, and I thought we squashed it, but apparently we didn't. And now I'm having an issue with this other parent, and I don't have to deal with this. And basically my husband was like, well, you kind of do. You are a coach of a team. And it gets to the point where he's like beating around the bush, won't come out and say it. And he's like, well, I don't know if you guys just want to finish the season. And then maybe put Titus with an age group that's more appropriate for him. And at that point, my husband was pissed off. Because again, like me, he can't stand passive aggression. So at that point, my husband's like, you know what? If you've got something to say, come out and say it. Because I can read between the lines on what you're trying to say. He was like, if you don't want us on the team, say that. The coach was like, didn't have the balls to come out and say
no, he doesn't sound like he's got any.
But my husband was like, you know what, bro? It's all good. So we get off the phone. And mind you, on that conversation, he brings up, your wife and that other parent were talking about me next to the dugout, and I could hear them. You guys, first and foremost, anything that I say about you, I'll tell you to your face. And in fact,
bravo.
First of all, literally, we did not speak about him.
If I don't like you, you'll know it. I won't be rude, but I'm just gonna point blank ignore you. Trust me, you'll know.
We didn't talk about him. We didn't have the opportunity to talk about him. But let me tell you why I'm mad. First and foremost, you didn't have the spine to do that in person with my husband.
Yep.
Or even me, since I'm the one you apparently have this issue with. Instead, you're going to call my husband and beat around the bush for 10 minutes because you have no spine.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Agreed.
And then after he got off the phone with my husband and kicked my kid off, he called the other parents back that he spoke to after the game and kicked their kid off. But again, didn't have the balls to actually do that to that man's face at the game. But yeah, I'm still pretty pissed about it. He better hope that he never sees me in person because, oh, you didn't like what I had to say to you then? Oh, baby, you don't want to know what I've got to say to you now.
Can I just say a round of applause for this mama? Because I absolutely loved her and I agree with everything she said. That, yeah, people like that exist. And you know what? The crazy thing is, if you're going to tell me that all the teachers in school are there because they love school and they love teaching and they love kids, like, that is absolute bull. Okay, absolutely. They just probably got a job because they just got a job. But then the issues come in. Like, you have to kind of know how to communicate, especially if you're working with kids and parents. Like, I could never do it. Like, I wouldn't have patience. But like, that's where it comes in, that you have to do this job a certain way. So if you like don't have the personality for it, or you don't have the skills for it, like, you shouldn't be there. Like, I don't know, or he needs to be someone like higher up, but he's like proper competitive that probably he wasn't good enough for. Yeah, like, messy, but everything that I dealt with a coach was spot on. I agree 100%. He's just a shit coach. The end. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed this story a lot. Let me know in the comments down below what you would have done and if you agree, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Mwah.